Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of The Gavel, featuring attorney Anna Toledo. Ms. Toledo is the senior attorney and general counsel to Targeted Justice. She has a background in constitutional and environmental law and is an experienced litigator, including 2 cases at the U.S. Supreme Court. And here's Ms. Toledo.
Hello, everyone. I am coming to you live from Alabama. That I know we have a great family of TIs in Alabama. I am, as many of you know, I am in a cross-country travesty to our nation's capital to fight for freedom and justice for all the members of the community that has been a victim of government weaponization. But before we start this episode, which as you know, I put a lot of love and effort into it. And before I start, I have to tell you that one of the tricks the criminals absolutely love to do is to make my nose itch so that I am scratching it all during the show. So if you see me do that, do not think it's a nervous tick or anything. It's just that they just started making my nose itch, but it's not going to stop me. Nothing they do is going to stop this train, period. So let me just start with Psalm 91, which I know that it's my favorite because it's one that we should all read every day. Those of you that like me are Christian, I urge you to take a look at it. And it's a little long, but let's go through it. It's security under God's protection. You who abide in the shelter of the Most High, who rest in the shadow of the Almighty, say to the Lord, you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I place my trust. I will rescue you from the snare of the fowler and from virulent pestilence. With his feathers he will shelter you, and you will take refuge under his wings. His faithfulness serves as a protective shield. You will not fear the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the plague that lays waste at midday. Even though 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, such evils will not afflict you. Rather, your own eyes will behold the punishment inflicted on the wicked. We're going to see it. We're going to totally see it. You have made the Lord your refuge and chosen the Most High to be your dwelling. Therefore, no evil will threaten you, no calamity will come near your dwelling, for he will command his angels about you to guard you wherever you go. I can attest to that. That is absolutely true. They will lift you up with their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You will tread upon the asp and the viper, and you will trample the lion and the dragon. So I want, as many of you know, my name is Anna Toledo, and I am an attorney with over 30 years experience. Originally, my mission was environmental justice in Puerto Rico, but fortunately, I have been brought to this venue, which is to fight for freedom and justice for all. So this week has brought really amazing news. I want you to know, as you know, my goal is to shut down the government weaponization program, which has obliterated the lives of so many, and to bring justice and health for those of us that have been severely affected by it. So on my way to relocating to the nation's capital, they started again. I'm sorry. I want to share with you a great sign, which is what happened to me this morning. I was in New Orleans and I went into a cafe to get something, a pastry to eat in the morning. There's this famous, let me see if you can see it. This famous cafe in New Orleans, Café du Monde. And as I was there, I go in the window and it says it's cash only. And I'm like, oh my God, I had no cash. I only had a card. So the guy in front of me goes, I'll invite you. Just order whatever you want. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, yeah, whatever you. I just wanted 2 little bags of the pastry. But the point is, the doors are opening, that the universe is conspiring for this is our moment. And I am so convinced of it. That is why I am going to DC to fight for our freedom. So one of the things I learned in the course of my years is that there are two, I'm not a scientist, but there are two concepts of time, which is chronos, which is a chronological time, right? Like day after day, today is this day, da, da, da. And then there's kairos, which is the time of God. And I am absolutely certain that this is the perfect time of God for me to be going there, for this program to be exposed, and for us to finally attain freedom from modern day slavery. So having said that, I'm going to go into this week's news. One of the inspirations that I don't know if you heard, when Charlie Kirk, one of the things he said was that somebody asked him, how do you get to meet all these people? And he said, well, you just have to set your mind to doing it, and you do it. And that's exactly what I have set my goal to be. Going analog, which is what I'm doing, won't allow the criminals to intercept my emails or my phone calls. I will show up, I will knock on the door, and when they whisper to their ear, she's a criminal, they will see that I'm not. So I'm pretty much going to curtail all their efforts to silence our voices. And because of this, I need you to please share this podcast, subscribe, like, to help us with the censorship and the algorithm, and most importantly, subscribe to my Mira, which is anatoledo.substack.com. And the reason I tell you that is because I'm going to be posting updates there. This is a weekly show, which I do with a lot of love, but I'm going to be posting weekly updates there. And particularly, I am going to be talking in a little while about a letter that I want you to write to your congressperson. I'm going to post it in Mira, and all you have to do is copy and paste it onto their webpage and send it. Okay? So please also subscribe to our Rumble channel, which is at Real Targeted Justice. Share it with everyone you know, particularly those that do not understand about what being targeted is like and don't really believe you. Well, there's symposiums by medical doctors, symposiums by attorneys. I am going to post the link here. Well, the name, you go to Rumble and it's Real Targeted Justice. The good thing is there's over 300 videos there, and we have made an effort to even translate the important ones with AI into other languages. So I know we are on the right track, and I'm really proud to be representing you in our nation's capital. So on with this week's events. There's a sad event that today was on X, and it was these 4 gentlemen that they committed suicide because they were accused as a result of January 6th. They were set up by our government, and they were crushed by our governments. George Meacham, Matthew Perna, Mark Ongst, Chris Stanton. They took their own lives because they couldn't bear the pain and the suffering of not just being accused, but the persecution that you and I know, the lawfare, the persecution, the injustice of knowing that you're an innocent person and you're being subjected to an illegal lawfare. And there's also, we cannot forget, Matthew Huddleston, who was stopped by because of silent heat, and the sheriff was gaslighting and harassing him, and because he was so scared he would go back to jail, he went to his truck to kill himself, and the sheriff killed him. So that is a 5th victim of the lawfare and the criminality by the FBI, criminals that need to be fired, investigated, prosecuted, and sentenced to life in prison. That's what needs to happen to those criminals. And I'm not going to stop until that happens, until each one that signed off on your nomination form to condemn you to a life of torture is fired, exposed, and prosecuted until the last breath in me. I am promising that. Okay, so that is it's very sad because as one of the whistleblowers, is saying, Mr. Kennedy. Let me show you what he posted on Twitter today. Give me a second because I am here handling a lot of screens in a tiny screen. So just be patient with me, please. Listen to this. Let me see if I can. Let's see how I do this. There.
United States on legal grounds that were iffy. Attorney General Merrick Garland make the decision to prosecute a former president of the United States on legal grounds that were iffy at best, who also happened to be the Attorney General's boss's chief opponent in an election. The press calls it lawfare. It's just weaponization by your justice system. That's not supposed to happen in America. That happens in countries whose Powerball jackpot is 287 chickens and a goat. It doesn't happen in America. And that.
So there you have it. Whoever is, if Senator Kennedy's a constituent, please. I'm going to in the post I'm going to write. I'm going to show you what to write to him. I really need to meet with him because he is saying what we have been saying all along. This is the weaponization of the American government against the American people. It is unfortunate that it's not until it happened to them that they are all in shock and angry about it. But you know what? Let's ride this wave. Let's take advantage, like I say. Opportunities come, and if you don't grab them, they're gone. And this is our opportunity. I want to show you, you see, Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray are government criminals. We're government criminals that I think will get indicted because there is evidence galore of their malfeasance. But I want to share with you some, because Jim Hoft from the Gateway Pundit said it in such passionate and coherent way that I want to share it with you because he was just really amazing. Let me just show you this.
Third book on the steal. The creeps come in and they start covering it up. And no group, well, look at me, FBI, no group was as corrupt as you. Nobody. I'm challenging you, FBI. This is Merrick Garland, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's FBI and DOJ. Christopher Wray, you guys are liars, and you know it. You covered up for the crimes in 2020. And here's the bomb. I wrote a piece last night at joehoff.com saying, hey, get ready. We're going to drop a bomb on this show today. Here's the bomb. Our FBI is corrupt beyond belief, and they covered up massive crimes across the country, but especially in Georgia. They're complicit with these crimes. How can I say that? Because they came in and they allowed these lies to go forward. They did not investigate. They could not have investigated because the evidence is there.
There you have it. The evidence is there. He called them for what they are. And it's an avalanche. It's a truth avalanche. And the good thing is that the ones that are going to be caught under the snow are these criminals, Garland, Mayorkas, Ray, the same ones we sued in TJV Garland, that judge said that it was all fantastical. It's all being exposed, and targeted individuals everywhere will be vindicated. Now, I want to show you another something really important is that in the investigation with AT&T giving the records, the phone records of the senators, okay, here's what happened. During the Arctic frost documents, I think it's 1,700 documents that were given by a whistleblower, not by Patel, by a whistleblower. Well, these documents reveal wide-ranging investigation by Biden's DOJ to take down President Trump and his supporters. They use FBI field offices from across the country, not just Washington, D.C., to conduct its investigation. They requested $16,600 to travel to more than 40 interviews. 45 individuals, including Steve Bannon, Scott Perry, Rudolph Giuliani, Jeffrey Clark, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, were potentially under investigation. Another 111 individuals, including Peter Navarro, Dan Scavino, Jeff Rosen, and Ed Martin. Ed Martin, who is the Department of Justice person in charge of the Government Weaponization Committee. They were potentially also under investigation. This is touching their own skin. They have skin in the game here to expose all the criminality of the FBI government criminals. So the senators are up in arms because all of a sudden they realize they were victims of what has been done to us for so long, right? So it turns out that it was Judge Bosberg, who is in the FISA court. He was the chief judge in the FISA court. Now I think it's Trenga now, but he was the chief judge in the FISA court, and he ordered AT&T to provide phone data on senators and not tell them, get a load of this, because allegedly, let me show you this, because they would destroy the evidence, or or the disclosure can affect national security. So there you have it. That Jack Smith guy also, remember, the Jack Smith guy did not get a pardon, even though those pardons are going to be obliterated because they were auto-pen pardons. But even then, he didn't get the discounted auto-pen pardon that is not worth the paper it's worth on. So AT&T did not tell these people, okay? And here is where our Privacy Act requests get into place. I remember I was an AT&T customer. I remember when I was discovering I was targeted, this prominent attorney from Puerto Rico, he used to be a former Department of Justice. He went in there. Oh, I demand to see Carla because the managers there had demanded that he come and sign a liability, you see? But he didn't recognize me, and I was there listening in a little corner. And that's what you have to do when you do your Privacy Act request. If you know of someone or some that specifically was involved, you can flat out say, I want to know any amounts of money paid to anyone relating to the government weaponization perpetrated against me, or investigation, or confidential human sources, etc. Anyone that was paid towards the investigation, the bogus investigation of me as a victim of government weaponization in a legal list. Remember that Jill is going to be providing professional services. If you need help with your Privacy Act request, write to her at tj@proton.me. So I called it out last week and I said it was not just 13 million lines of data. That's what the senators thought that week. No, this week, today, they said they were listening. Get a load of this. They were listening to Ted Cruz phone calls. And I am sure They were listening to everybody's phone calls, not just Ted Cruz. And that is what Chuck Grassley is unveiling with the 1,700 documents that the whistleblower is brought to his attention. It will all be revealed. And the good thing is, whether you agree, whether you're Republican or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the civil rights violations are being exposed, and it's going to trickle down to all of us. And that's why I'm going to Washington, to make sure that we are vindicated and that it stops. Now, I'm going to play you some of the videos that are they're just so precious that you need to listen with your own ears how this is unraveling, because we are watching history in the making. We are changing the course of history. And so here is one of them. This is Marsha, and anybody who is in the district, her district in Tennessee, I ask that you please contact her with the form that I'm gonna show you. Hold on, let me see if this the because you cannot be heard. Hold on.
Now we know. Well, what do we know? So far, we know this is that Christopher Wray wrote a memo in April of 23, and the next day, Lisa Monaco wrote a note on that memo to Merrick Garland and said, Merrick, you should approve this. And on April 5th, he did, that very day. Now, this was a memo that would approve moving forward with an investigation into supposed activity by supposed supporters of President Trump dealing with the 2020 elections. So now we know that the net widens as to everyone that was involved with trying to go after President Donald Trump. Well, what do we know?
There you have it.
We know
so let me stop.
Christopher.
Let me remove her stage. There we go. Okay, so she is irate, and so are the other ones, because I don't think they have told her yet that they were listening to her conversations too. But then you have to listen. I'm going to play you the other ones that just called my attention, because, Ted Cruz, if for those of you that have seen him, he used to be a prosecutor, and he has got to be the most talented cross-examiner that there is in the Senate. So I am sure that he is going to take these witnesses and just, completely obliterate them. Let me show you the next one, the next video that is by Grassley, by Senator Grassley, who, let me see, is this? Yeah. Hold on.
I've recently been informed by Verizon that at least 11 members with Verizon accounts were affected. That includes a hard line for Senator Cruz's office and a staffer's cell phone for former Senator Loeffler. AT&T informed me they challenged the legal basis for Jack Smith's efforts, and Smith backed down. I've recently been...
There you have it. Now, the next one that you need to listen to is Ted Cruz himself. He was completely irate, and he is asking for the impeachment of Judge Boasberg. And why is this important? Because once Judge Boasberg falls, it's going to be a domino effect. All the other judges that approve FISA warrants without reasonable suspicion, they are going to be in for a surprise. Let me show you this one, because this one is really good too. Today was a great day of gifts, of surprises.
I am right now calling on the House of Representatives to impeach Judge Boasberg. Judge Boasberg put his robe down, stood up, and said, "Sign me up to be part of the partisan vendetta against 20% of the Republicans in the Senate. That is a dereliction of duty and a violation of the judicial oath. And I want to thank Chairman Grassley and Chairman Johnson for pursuing this tenaciously like a dog on a bone. We are going to get the answers of every person who signed off on this abuse of power, and mark my words, there will be accountability.
There will be accountability. That's the same thing that Mr. Kash Patel said. Accountability is coming. So criminals, particularly the ones in the private industry that colluded with the government to destroy our lives, accountability is coming, and that is not a threat. That is a fact. Now, another good news is that Senator Rand Paul seems to be waking up, and I'm gonna share with you some expressions. This is like my number one priority when I go to DC is meeting with Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky and listen to what he had to say.
To the DOJ for criminal prosecution over false statements about the Steele dossier, false statements to Congress. So, I mean, I think some of those false statements were to you, Senator, if I am recalling this correctly.
You know, I have a general sort of opposition to how much power we've given the intelligence agencies to spy on Americans in particular and to spy indiscriminately. I think this spying power was used on President Trump in 2016, the FISA warrants. These are Foreign Intelligence Service warrants that are basically not consistent with the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. It's a much lower standard. They say association with a foreign government. So some of the people who worked in his campaign, they alleged were associated with a foreign government. So they just got wide and expansive powers. So I'm against the power in just in general of how much power to spy on Americans, but more specifically, the individual characters like Brennan, Clapper, Bolton, others are examples of the people who get attracted to this kind of power, like moths to flame. They come, and the weakness of humans to submit or to succumb to the allure of power is evident by people like Brennan, people like Clapper, who do lie, who do spy on Americans, who do take that power and abuse it. And really, one of the most egregious things is that they're still allowed to be talking heads on television. So both Clapper, Brennan, and a whole host of others signed a statement saying that that Hunter Biden's laptop was basically a Russian hoax.
So there you have it. He's waking up, and it's all good for us. He is calling out on the spying on Americans, the illegal spying that is repugnant to the Fourth Amendment. So that's, the news, it just couldn't get better for this week. There were more good news. There were horrific news, like Tulsi Gabbard exposing the trafficking of pregnant women to do C-sections on them and extract their babies to sell them. And it doesn't get more horrific than that. And that what that tells me is that this courageous woman is going to do what it takes to expose the abuses of the intelligence community. As I mentioned last week, she has a committee working just on that. And I am absolutely certain that she will not be afraid to expose what she needs to. So, and, I am on this mission. It's probably going to take me, I am 9 hours away from DC, so I don't know, depending on the weather, how it's going to be. But I want to, at this time, thank everybody that has contributed to my relocation efforts to DC to fight, to shut down this illegal satanic program, and also for retribution for all of the victims of government weaponization. I humbly ask you that you consider committing through Gifts and Go to a monthly donation, so that instead of having to worry, oh my God, how am I going to pay the rent next month, that I can not have to think about it, And so you can, when you go to Gifts and Go, you can go to the monthly and make a monthly subscription. You know, I don't want to leave. I'm going to stay there. My goal is to shut down this program. I'm not going to leave. And as I have said, I do not derive an income. I'm only need your donations for the basic living expenses of living in one of the most expensive cities in the United States. So having said that, please remember that on November 8th, I'm going to have the first monthly meeting in DC. Targeted Justice monthly meeting is going to be Saturday, November 8th. Next week, I will announce the venue. And it's a big coffee shop with big parking and close to a metro station. So there's no excuses for the TIs in the Virginia, Maryland, and DC area that we know it's one of the most populated areas with TIs to show up. I want to organize what I'm going to be doing, and I really wish I can count on some of you, not full time, but some of the time, to dedicate some time to go with me and let's go knock some doors. Okay, I will go to the swamp to shine light on the darkness, and I am counting on you, not just on your donations to make it feasible, but also on your prayers, because just like Tulsi Gabbard is fighting the devil, satanic people, you know, people that do santeria and all of that horrible thing. I am fighting that too. So I humbly ask that you cover me in your prayers when you do, because they are very much needed and appreciated. And so next week, hopefully, I will be addressing you from the nation's capital, and I'm going to be bringing you updates. It's going to be wonderful, and we're going to change the course of history. So thank you so much for being here tonight, and blessings to all. Good night.